Okay, grab your popcorn and join me for a quick drive and a chat. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I hope you've been all right and enjoying yourselves. I just wanted to give you a quick update. So my last video to you was my 1 year update, what it's been like having the car for a year, how much it cost me to charge this car over the last year. So check the links above to go and have a look at those videos if you want to. But in this one, I want to tell you about some other bits and pieces that I have found out, and one massive problem that I have at the minute. So stick close to the end, I'll tell you about that towards the end. So some other things that I've been enjoying. So now I'm driving the car, I don't have my cruise control on or anything like that, and I am coming up to a roundabout, and you have it on adaptive. It automatically knows and it shows you a symbol in the screen that says you're coming up to a roundabout, and then what the car will do, it literally will start slowing itself down. Now a couple of times I sort of let the car do it because I want to see what it will do when it gets to that roundabout, and it slows you down to a whopping slow geriatric 22 miles an hour. Now when you've been doing 50 to 70 miles an hour and you come to a roundabout, 22 miles an hour is not the speed you want to be doing. You want to be like getting a move on, but 22 miles an hour is what it does. And most of the times I find that, especially if no one is in front of you, that is quite frustrating, and you got to put your foot down and just get a move on. So that's one of the first things I wanted to tell you about. Second thing I wanted to tell you about is coming up to like sharp bends. The car will flash up in the screen to tell you that you're about to go around that bend, and it will literally start slowing the speed down. So if you were on cruise control for this one, it will slow itself down, like literally all the way down to about 40 or 50 miles, which for me is a bit dangerous because I mean, you don't really need to be going that slow. Those are the kind of things that you need to sort of keep your foot on the gas a little bit, just to keep it going. Otherwise, someone will run into the back of your car. So something to be mindful of. The third thing I wanted to tell you about today. So I'm on the M20 driving through Maidstone now, and this happens most of the times on the M20. You get to a point where, I don't know if it's geofencing or if there was once upon a time when at that point on the M20 where the speed was 50 miles an hour, but you've passed no sign at all that tells you that your speed is coming down to 50. Yet the car decides to slam on the brakes and flashing up on the screen here to tell me that the speed limit is 50 miles an hour, and the speed hasn't changed at all. And then now you have all these people flying behind you, and the way to like tell the car you're being stupid, knock it off, is just to press that set button again, and that will cancel that command that the car is just given itself, and it will get back up to speed. But you kind of have to be quick enough to get back on that. Alternative to that is just keep your foot over the accelerator and just move it on a little bit. Otherwise you'll find that you're going to end up in some problems where that is concerned. That happens regardless of which map I'm using, whether I'm using the car's navigation or I'm using the phone navigation. But I tend to be using the phone's navigation. Today I'm using the car. I don't know why. Oh, I know why. It's because when I left home, signal wasn't great on the phone, so I had to use the car's navigation. But yeah, so just be careful of that. While we're talking about navigation, that will bring us on to the next thing that I need to tell you about, which was a really nice surprise. So a day last week, I was leaving work, and then as soon as I got into the car and I was about to leave, a message flashed up on the screen, because obviously the car has learned, I don't know how, I've never used it to go to work, but the car has learned that at that time of the afternoon, I'm about to head home. So it flashed up a message to basically say, there is loads of traffic on your usual route home. Now, I've never put my route home in the car, but it flashed up to say there's traffic on your usual route home. Here is a suggested way you can go home instead. And truth be told, yeah, it was pretty much a lifesaver. But the question still came, while I'm saying this was a good thing, the question still came, how did the car know that that was my usual route home? We'll leave a question mark on that, and leave that right there. Okay, and now we come to the third to last thing I'm going to tell you about. So the next thing I'm going to tell you about is about Octopus Energy. So I've been up with Octopus coming up for a year now. I switched over from British Gas. And I switched over to Octopus because I should be getting competitive rates in like selling energy, excess energy back to Octopus. It's supposed to be 15p, but they give me 4.1 and then tells me that it's not 15, but on the website it says 15. Anyway, we won't discuss that. So that's the first thing. But I went over to Octopus. And I went over because I wanted to get the intelligent Octopus tariff, which you can get as low as like 7p per kilowatt hour. And as we're in October now and heading into winter, where there's much less sunshine, I wanted to go over to that tariff so that I can take advantage of being able to charge my car at super low rates at night. So Octopus did their thing, and I had to like log in with my car to their system, and they log in through the app and so on. So now they control my car when it comes to charging anyway. So because my charger that I have at home is from Project EV, and they don't support Project EV, at least not yet. So what happens is I plug my car in when I go home, the car starts charging. 2 minutes later, the car stops charging because it says, oh, well, you know, the cheapest rates are between 11:30 and whatever. And that can change every night, by the way. So know that it can change. Like tonight it'll be 11 o'clock, tomorrow night it'll be 2 o'clock in the morning that the cheapest rates will become available. So you got to be careful with that. Anyway, so the car will stop charging. And then when it gets to 11 o'clock, it will switch the car back on to start charging. But at that point in time, my charger doesn't want to know. It's literally like, yeah, no, go away, because you've stopped charging, and then the charger will just literally not switch itself back on. So that's something I'm working through. But the reason why I was telling you about that is because by doing that, I started getting a high energy use error message that keeps coming up on my screen. And I need to talk to Octopus about this, but that's something that, you know, you just need to bear in mind as you go along with that. Okay, the second to last thing that I'm going to tell you about. So I remember in one of my videos, I mentioned the fact that I have got this drive recorder, and I can just push that and record a video at any point in time with the 4 cameras that are around the car. But I was mentioning the fact that the reason why I got it is in case I get into a bump, I need to have that evidence, because I didn't want to have a webcam hanging from my windscreen. Well, one of my subscribers again left a message on one of my videos to basically say, even if it's a tiny bump, or even if it's something you witness on the motorway and you just want a quick capture of it, all you got to do is press the camera button down here and hold it for 2 seconds, and then immediately what will happen is that it will capture the 10 seconds before, and then it will record the next 10 seconds. And so you got 20 seconds of clip that you can use. Now, when you're driving, 10 seconds is an absolute eternity, because a lot can happen in 10 seconds. And I've tried that a couple of times, and it's been absolutely brilliant. As soon as I press and I hold and the camera comes up on the screen, it shows me that it's starting at 10 seconds, and then it goes 11, 12, 13, and so on. So it's keeping the footage from 10 seconds before, and then it will record for another 10 seconds, and then it will stop. So if you have that in your car, by all means, you know, give that a go. And finally, the last thing I'm going to tell you about, right there on my screen is about a 2.5 foot crack that's walking across the screen. Now, it's been a month and some days since I had that crack on the screen. It started at 6 inches. And the way how that started is we're coming back from camping. There's a truck driver who was in the wrong lane. He was on the lane going to Dartford. Realized at late notice that he wanted to then switch over to the lane in front of me because he didn't want to go to Dartford. Obviously, that meant that he drove on a part of the motorway where there is loads of loose rubble because there are hardly any cars driving there, because he drove across some very thick white lines to get across there, the chevrons he drove across, kicked up a stone, it hit the windscreen and it broke it. Well, cracked it, and it was like 6 inches. So I did what, every law-abiding citizen would do. I phoned up I went on to my insurance company, and who are part of the Aviva group, and I put in my details to make a claim to get the windscreen fixed. I thought I'd see something like auto glass come up, but when you go to do the claim, it immediately forwards you to National Windscreens. And I was like, oh, I've never heard of these folks before. Anyway, I was like, well, let me get them to come over and sort it out. We had a date set, 11th of September, which was 2 weeks after the incident with the crack, which was my first disappointment because I thought, that's a long way away. Had this been Autoglass, not like I'm like promoting Autoglass. Actually, I probably am, but I've used Autoglass before because it isn't my first cracked windscreen on the motorway. But had that been Autoglass, that would have been sorted within 2 days. But the appointment they gave me was 2 weeks. Then on the morning of September the 11th, I get a phone call to say, really sorry, we're not coming to fix it because we ordered the glass from BMW and it hasn't been delivered yet. It hasn't arrived yet. And I'm telling you this because if you drive an i4 and that windscreen gets cracked, this might be the situation because these cars are still pretty new. So you're not really getting a lot of parts coming down. I'm pretty much guessing here. That's probably why. It's a full month later and another week. It's October the 1st today. And I've now got an appointment for Tuesday, October 3rd, to go and get that glass fixed. So I'll take you guys with me in the next part of the video to show you the process of that. All right, top of the morning, everybody. Today is the day. It's Tuesday, the 3rd of October, and we are very early, 7:14 in the morning at National Windscreens over there, and they are going to sort out this here crack that you can see that's been sat on this screen for the last 5 weeks. Okay, so on a totally different day, the next day, 4th of October, I am happy to report the windscreen has been fixed, excess of £115 for them to fix it, and I had to take it to National Windscreens depot because they needed the time to calibrate my lane departure and all that sort of stuff. So it's been absolutely amazing. I'm quite happy with it. And the most important thing, I don't know if this bugs anybody else, but let me show you something that I like. Every time you get it, you get some different branded one, and this one has still got the BMW brand on it, which I'm quite happy about. So that's amazing. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you when I make another video.